kind of background did you have before, and how did you get started in track and field, and how did the whole process?
It's probably one of the most inexpensive sports to be in. Just get a pair of track shoes, or even run in your bare feet when you're young and trying to get the basic fundamentals of running, throwing. And so I think track and field is probably the one sport that gives you a little bit of everything. It gives you how to throw, it gives you how to jump, it gives you how to run. And so it gives you truly a wonderful balance to work with. Great exercise. And I grew up with that, great exercise. So after, I guess, 17 or 18 years old, it started to work for me. Breaking that world's record in Mexico City was quite a surprise for myself, but I think for the rest of the world too. However, something great was going to happen, if not in the long jump. Somebody on the Olympic team was going to do something very special. That particular team is probably the greatest Olympic team to ever be assembled. And of course, Dick Fosbury was on that team, who he's the only guy that has a name behind the high jump, so it's called the Fosbury Flop. So we truly stick together as a group whenever we can. When we talk about the Olympics, you got to talk about 1968 and what kinds of things that were going on there. So I think that my long jump was right in there with other spectacular feats also. We had the 100 meters, you had the 200. Jimmy Hines won the gold. We had the 400, we placed 1, 2, 3 in the 400. So we had quite a team, and the women did extraordinarily well too. Just reflecting back in '68, it was October 18th, and the clouds were actually starting to move over my head, and but I really didn't care whether it rained or it snowed. I was simply ready to perform, and I think with the kind of motivation and the years that I've dedicated myself to the long jump, I think, in no doubt, I was really prepared to win a gold medal. The breaking the world's record at that time was truly a surprise to me, and to all my teammates who were, as I describe them, as probably the great ones who I admired. Ralph Boston was my teammate, and who actually was a co-holder of the world record along with Igor Tervanesian from, at that time, was the Soviet Union. So there was some thoughts that were coming, that something was going to happen, and we were kind of making our range of the jump would probably be around 28 feet. So standing up at the front of the long jump runway, I just felt very confident, and I ran down and with great force in striking that board, and I saw that I was up a little bit longer than I usually, I didn't come down until a half an hour later, so I thought maybe something special had happened, and so it took about 45 minutes to actually measure, because the measuring device was too short, which was electronic, and so we had to bring in a manual tape, and so there was no manual tapes in the stadium. So they had to go find one, and so that was really quite quite a challenge for the Mexican officials, including holding up the 400-meter finals. And so Lee Evans and Larry James and Ron Freeman, these guys were placed 1, 2, 3, and they had to wait until I guess they brought this measuring device in, which was the manual tape. So
You're still only 5 people to have jumped over 8 meters, world record over 8 meters. Why do you think that your period was so particularly strong for long jump?
well, I think there are a couple of more people, maybe not in the Olympic Games, but have gone a long distance. You had Carl Lewis, who had one of the greatest series of long jumping ever. And then, of course, Mike Powell broke that record that day at the World Championships. It's basically, it's mind over matter. You know, the games, the Olympic Games is truly a different, it's a very special time when you have to have mind over matter. You have to be very conscious of yourself every day, that you don't fall into a bad habit of doing something. And so everything must work for you pretty much perfectly on the day of your competition or several days that you go into your event. And so I feel that a perfect day with the mental state of mind being at its highest peak, it all has to work. It's like the horizontal meets the vertical. Everything works perfectly. And so those are the things that sometimes people go into the games seated as number one, and they don't perform well. And there's a lot of things that happen when you're competing in the games. A lot of pressure. And I'd like to say that my team members, Ralph Boston was very instrumental in encouraging me. Before I even knew about the Olympics, they talked about this wonderful journey as an Olympian, and then of course the competition was fantastic. And so it gave me an idea that maybe I should try that too. And so again, our team was truly very friendly with each other. I had a very unorthodox way of jumping, and so I put a couple of phases in the jump. I took something from Ralph, I took something from somebody else, or Jesse Owens, and I came out pretty good there.
Was Jesse Owens a role model to you?
Oh yeah.
In what way? What inspired you about him?
Motivation, his as an African American who came through the times when African Americans were not respected. And so I believe that he was the pioneer for us in the 60s. And then we are pioneers for the young ones today. When we competed, there was no money involved. And so today you can make a couple of dollars.
What do you think about Mike Powell? What were your thoughts when he actually came in at the infamous Tokyo 91 duel with Carl Lewis and took your world record after 23 years? You know, what did you feel when you saw that?
I wanted to fight. I want to beat him up. No. So, I always think that records are made to be broken, and My mind is always been that was truly a peak experience in that particular sport, and so when I'm finished, I have to move on, and so I felt that it was a beautiful jump, and that I think that Carl Lewis was expected to win and to break the record, but it turned out that Mike did that. It's so unfortunate, though, that Mike doesn't have a gold medal, and Carl does. So it's quite a, and Carl was so talented that he probably could have held the long jump, the 100, the 200. He was just that talented.
It's a historic world record of all athletics disciplines. How do you feel? How does that make you feel?
Feels good. I mean, it's not something that I wish for, but it's something that I truly respect. And I've enjoyed the magic carpet ride from the time I committed to becoming an Olympic athlete and all the values that come with it. And so I've enjoyed every moment.